Fresh out the LAX, blowing on the Lolo. Draped in the flyest logos, pocket swole, bro. Attract the finest of divine feminine cocoa. Try to keep a humble approach, better than most though. Too cold for hell, and I know heaven a no-go. Reminiscing of demons like a devil in Rojo. But still I rise like the primordial Ocho, you know. And it's like that way. Since the beginning of time, I was a winner who shine on a ridiculous grind, keeping my business in line. All of this shit is divine, homie. I hope you could stand the rain, no Mr. Mean. Hit the homie T-Red for exquisite green, riding down Fairfax, Bentley, no limousine. Thoughts about make it in the dying, I was in between. My higher self intervened like a pick and screen, in and out burger tween, dopest shit you ever seen. I survived the drought, the coldest of the evergreens. Played a couple clubs, now they know me in the mezzanine. Let it breathe, no energy for enemies, especially now we on the bigger and better things. You know the name, ring bells, let it ring, nigga. Let it ring, let it ring. You know the name, ring bells, let it ring, nigga. Let it ring, let it ring.
Another one of those days, but the 7th for this week. Been on the grind, sun up and down, it's here not for the weak. My stock on rise, today's price is not yesterday's feet. This world of drama, dodging karma from my days as a G. Planting knowledge, empowerment in the streets for my peeps. Could never fly, you scared to jump, nigga, so I took that leap. Consciously knowing I fall, to land back on my feet. Dust off my shoes, kiss my bruises, then it's back to the peak top. Been the beasts, playing snatches, running from beat cops. Scully tops to when Scully's running down on my ops.
Yes.
Innocence was robbed from me, whether I liked it or not. Everything
Yes.
I did as a kid, it was never for props. I fell in love with the feeling.
Oh, we in the building.
I got adrenaline pumping, blood rushing from the bulge of the Glock. Fully stocked with hollow tips that make a life come to stop. My change of course came from my homie, lifeless death.
Make sure y'all check out that Placa Lolo video.
And this girl asking why.
Live from LA.
Piece of me that day without a proper goodbye, but that's the norm for we these days.
Cassie Shep says she made it to class on time today. Philly in the building. Put your nines up. Let me know where y'all from, family. Let's go.
Let it ring, let it ring. You know the name, ring bells, let it ring, nigga.
Let's go. Let it ring, let it ring. Let it ring. The most feared. Huh? The most feared Kemetic in the universe. Your boy Jamal Milton is in the building. Let's get it cracking. We about to go in today. Today we're talking about prayer. We're talking about prayer today. Let me make sure my charger is hooked up. I don't want to lose y'all mid-lesson. Make sure we all linked up here. All right. All right. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. I'm thinking about also, family, I've been thinking about covering some current events on this show. Let me know what y'all think about covering current events too as well. Whether it be at the end of the show, the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the lesson. Y'all let me know. Make sure y'all smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit it up right now. Smash that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Share to your friends, share to your loved ones. Okay, but before we go in, you already know we got to get the frequency right and exact. Let's go. Get your Tibet singing bowls out. Yeah. Get your Lighthouse Power bracelets out. Let's get on frequency. Let's get the vibe right. One more time. Now, I wish you could see what this actually does. I like to double down on it, not just do the vibes, but I also like to pour my water into my Tibet singing bowl and charge up my water before I drink it. Life hack. highly advise. If you haven't tried it, I highly advise that you try it. You can actually see the waves of the elements of the water actually changing while you're doing it. Hopefully, I can get a video on that so you can actually see it being done one day, so you can see what it feels like. But we will be having soon. I'm working right now on a manufacturer to manufacture our very own Tibet singing bowls for the family, Lighthouse Tibet singing bowls, specifically tuned to the frequency that we want it at. So we're working on that right now, and it should be coming in the near future. So look for that when we have the Lighthouse store, which is going to be great. But in any case, today we're talking the subject matter. This is probably one of the most common questions that I get in my inbox. Is who do I pray to? Who, Brother Milton? Who do I pray to? A lot of people that are new that come into this walk of life, coming out of religion and or delving into other practices, delving into other areas of study, this seems to be one of the biggest concerns for people, because there's that element of confusion, right? When you first come in, it's like, okay, well, we just realized that Jesus isn't real, who are we supposed to be praying to? Who should we be asking, for help from and assistance? And it's a valuable question, right? I get it. So we're going to delve into that a little bit today. We're going to talk about it, and hopefully drop some knowledge for you guys that you may not know. Okay. So let's start with the original concept of what we call prayer and God, right? We pray to God for most cases, right? When people say they're going to pray, they automatically in our minds, we normally think, okay, you're going to go pray to God, right? Whichever God that is, right? So let's delve into the knowledge of God for a sec, right? And let's just do some basic searches. If you were to Google who God was or who God is, right? And you click images, this is what you get. This is what you get, right? Just go right now, go to Google, type in God, and then click images, and let me know what you get. Okay. So when we deal with this, right, as a indigenous, Black, Moorish, Kemetic, native being, ancient being, right? When we see stuff like this as the imagery, right? As the imagery of what God is, and we know that representation is very important, right? In this day and time, we're starting to see it now with the introduction of the Black Little Mermaid, things of that nature, right? We're beginning to see the power of representation and why it is important for us as a people to see Blackness, right? To see ourselves put in this light. But when you look up who God is and you look up imagery, you get this white man sitting on a cloud, right? You get this white man sitting on a cloud, controlling everything. And it's primarily the Christian God that they give you, right? I think we can all agree that there are probably thousands of gods now, right? But when we type in God and who God is, this is what we get as an image. So now we have to ask ourselves, okay, why is there an overall consensus of this imagery going around, right? But then when you ask them, if you ask a Christian, what does God look like? He doesn't have a color. They say, oh, it doesn't matter what he looks like. It doesn't matter what color he is, right? Or they say, oh yeah, or they might even stretch and say, oh yeah, God is not white. Okay, so then how is all of this imagery, right, being acceptable? Why isn't there a backlash as to why this imagery is out there? Like if you were to present, for example, if you were to draw an image of Muhammad, right, as a cartoon, right, the Nation of Islam, Muslims would go crazy, right? You would be crucified for showing these type of images of Muhammad, right? Because it's unacceptable in their culture, right? It's almost like a defilement. But when you look at this, this is acceptable. So, we have to ask ourselves, why are y'all allowing this to happen, right? And presenting this to the masses, right? With power comes great responsibility, right? If you know that 80% of the people here in America worship a God, the Christian God, you have to look at the imagery that's being presented and ask yourself, why aren't y'all trying to fix this, right? Because we know there's no white man sitting on a cloud, right? You're telling me that God is within me. You're telling me that this white man is within me, right? Orchestrating all of these things that go on. It's this guy, right? If not, get rid of it. Why is it there? Make it make sense. So let's take a look. What is God, right? Well, according to them, right, God, and they go right, number one, they go right to Christianity. And they say God in Christianity and other monotheistic religions, the creator and ruler of the universe and source of all moral authority, the supreme being, right? We know what supreme being means, right? Above the rest, pretty much, is what they're saying, right? When you're supreme, right? These are the things that we see. So to the lay, anybody that's trying to find God, right? The average person, they're going to go in and they're going to do the research, but the imagery that comes up and the things that they're looking for are going to show white men in power, even as gods, living over us and within us. So this paradigm exists no matter where you go, whether in reality you're dealing with white supremacy, whether you're in spirituality, you're dealing with white supremacy, right? In the workplace, you're dealing with white supremacy. You're dealing with white supremacy everywhere. How is that even allowed in this kind of space, right? The definitions alone tell you what they're shooting for. It tells you everything that they're trying to tell you, what they're trying to display to you. It's all there, right? So when we start to delve into this and we start to really look at it, now we realize, okay, since we realize that Jesus isn't real, right? Jesus is almost interchangeable with God, right? They try to play that trick with you and they say, oh yeah, Jesus is God, but no, he's not God. The more it's just all this, never quite clear as to what the stance is, right? So I say, oh, he's the son of God, but he's God. They're all one. It's Trinity. You know how they do. You know the right? We don't even have to go down that road. But when we start dealing with prayer, right? These are the things that are important to us. These are the things that, when we're trying to get something out of life, we realize that attachment to the spiritual nature, to the spiritual realm is important. So let's delve into prayer for a second. Prayer says a solemn request for help, right? Or expression of thanks addressed to God, right? So anytime you're praying, we associate that with God, period. Like we off the rip, they letting you know if you praying, right? Even in prayer, the definition, right? It's going, this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with him. If you're dealing with prayer, you're dealing with him. It's letting you know right now, right? God, it says, or an object of worship. I got a problem with that part. Because Christianity says you can't worship any objects or idols, right? So that's the okie doke. But now let's delve into it a little bit clearer. Let's go down to where you see where it says similar. This is where we get to have fun. You see where it says that first word, invocation, right? Listen, I've always told you guys, the truth is always hidden somewhere in the lie, right? Because the lie has to stand on truth, no matter what, right? This is the power of truth. You find truth even in the lie. When people are lying All you have to do is listen close enough and you will find the truth somewhere in there. You just got to pay attention. So when we look at this and we see prayer, it gives us a similar word, as it says, an invocation, right? Let's deal with invocation for a second. Invocation, the action of invoking something or someone for assistance or as an authority, right? That's the definition. There's no 1, 2, 3. That's the definition right there as a noun, right? Invocation, the action of invoking something or someone for assistance or as an authority. The invocation of new disciplines and methodologies. Now notice in this main definition, there's no things connected to God yet. Did you notice that in this definition? The invocation, they say it's similar, but you notice they didn't mention God. Why? Why? If it's similar to prayer, right? Why didn't they mention God? The reason why they didn't mention God is because it's similar. It's not the same. It's not the same, right? B-E-E-R is not the same as B-E-A-R, right? In our culture, not the same. Similar, right? Bear is bear. Beer is beer, but it's not the same, right? B-A-R-E, rather, I should do a better example. B-A-R-E and B-E-A-R. Same, bear, bear. But they're not, they're similar, but they're not the same. See what I'm saying? So when we deal with prayer versus invocation, right? Invocation, that little difference, that invocation is all the difference. It's all the difference, right? Because you are invoking something. What is invoke? Invoke means to bring out, right? It means to call upon, right? Prayer, you're seeking an outside God to come and help you, right? The way that they try to attach you to it is by saying that, oh yeah, God is within you, but we all know that white man ain't in us, right? We all know that. But with invocation, you are bringing out something that is within you, that is you, right? That is all around you, that you are literally connected to, right? That is an invocation. You can't call somebody that you ain't got the number to, right? You can't call somebody and you don't know, right? You got to have some sort of connection to call somebody. You know, somebody say, oh yeah, I'm gonna call on the name of Jesus. Oh, that means you must be connected with Jesus, right? I'm gonna call on God, right? That means you must know God. That means you must have seen God. You must have some sort of connection. When people say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to God, really? Really, if we talk to God and what God says, no man shall ever see my face and live. So where are you going when you say you going to God? This is what God said. God said, no man shall ever see my face and live. So when I hear people say, oh yeah, I'm going to pray to God, go to God, how? Make that make sense. Because he's not within us. Not, definitely not. If that's the case, everything that happens, you got to credit to God. You can't pull the devil into this because God is within it. So every bad thing that ever happened, God did that. You got to make that make sense, right? To a God who loves, right? So when a person hates, how is God hating? So when we delve into invocation, right, we realize that there's some work to do, right? When we delve into invocation, the hard part about invocation, right, is that you have to do some work. Somebody said, how is God not within us? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You tell me. Is that being, that white man within you? Yes or no? I want to know in the comments. I want to know what I'm dealing with. I'm going to give y'all time. Is that white man within you? That's the question. That's what I want to know. Because this is God. Right? This is God. You tell me. Somebody said, hell no. Yeah, this is a whole different conversation piece. Is that white man in you? Yes or no? I'm not seeing where are the yeses. I'm seeing a lot. Absolutely not. Hell to okay. Oh well, damn. Damn family. Uh, I mean, I'm trying to ride, you know what I mean? I'm trying to serve the people. I'm trying to ride with y'all. Is the white man in you, yes or no? I don't mean to put the sister on the spot, but this is what it is. We gotta do a climate check. Who's in the room? Is the white man, is that white man in you? The one that's sitting on the cloud that they say is God, right? Usually I don't cover this, but we got to make sure. We just got to make sure that everybody's on point. You know what I'm saying? So make sure I know who I'm talking to, right? So, all right. So we all know that this white man is not in you, right? Now we can argue um, um, that this white man uh, is not God. We could that's a whole different argument, right? But then we could also ask ourselves, how old, what you did in the last lesson, which you should go back and take a look at that. How old is the concept of God? Is it ancient? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Love Taco said, my understanding is that he is in all things. And that's why you are in this classroom today. We are unraveling what you've been taught because God is not in you. There is no God in you. No such thing as God. No such thing. They created God, right? To mimic you. Love Taco. You are the creator, right? You are a woman, right? You create human beings, the same human beings that God needed to create their Jesus. So that's a whole different conversation. We'll get into that a little bit later. But let's deal with the concept of invocation, right? Invocation requires work, right? And that's the work that we're doing right now. We have to first realize, in order to invoke, here's the key to invocation, and this is the hardest part. In order to invoke, right? Because from invocation, you get manifestation. In order to invoke, you have to know what you're capable of. Ooh. What if I told you? What if I told you human beings are capable of creating gods? What if I told you every god that you've ever heard of is a creation from a human being? What if every god, right, that was ever created, right, by a human being was to mimic the special attributes that human beings have? Whoa. 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 What if we realized we were so powerful as human beings that we had to figure out a way to express that power, to express what it is we're capable of doing under the right circumstances? What if this guy, right? What if this guy was created by human beings, right? To bamboozle you into thinking you aren't worthy of doing what it is you're capable of. Now, I know this is tough. Let me slow down. I know this is tough because all your life, you've been told, that you have to pray to God and he will come, right? He will come and he will give you all your heart's desires. All your needs will be met as long as you trust God, right? I'm here to tell you today, family, that is a lie. You can trust God for your entire life and won't nothing happen for you. I promise you that. I promise you that. I know people who have trusted God their entire lives and nothing that they prayed for ever came into fruition. I know people who trusted God, right, and got everything they wanted, right? But when we delve into that, right, all you have to have is one person who doesn't get what they want. And that tells you that it's not foolproof, that it's not right and exact. It's not law, right? They say when a false prophet, right, once one prophet gives you a prophecy and it doesn't come into fruition, that person is a false prophet. That's the law. That's the law, right? I don't care which God you're dealing with. Somebody says, so what about Yahweh? Same thing. Yahweh, Allah, doesn't matter. It does not matter which God you're dealing with. They were all created to express human nature. You could not understand God without human nature. You wouldn't understand. When you say jealousy and envy, what is that? If you don't have a human being expressing jealousy and envy, how do you say that God is a jealous God? You would need the element of jealousy. So what can an atom be jealous of an atom? No. An atom cannot be jealous of another atom. It doesn't look over at another cell and be like, oh, your mitochondrial DNA is way better than mine. Like, it just doesn't happen. You need human intel. You need human emotion, hormones. You need all those different things to bring about what they're describing a God is, right? The wrath of God, that's anger. That's a human emotion. That's a human emotion, right? These are humans expressing, right, the actions of an indescribable being the best way that they could, right? The things that they see in nature, they were relating them to human beings. Why do you think the zodiac, right, has different characters, like, or different animals, right? If it wasn't humans, they were relating it to animals, right? The nature of an animal. And this goes all the way back to ancient Kemet. When you look at the first writings on the walls, they were primarily animals, right? Because we didn't know how to express what it is that was happening. So we say, okay, you know what? I know what an alligator does, right? When we look at Sebek, I know what an alligator does, right? So I can now take this alligator and put this head of an alligator on a human, and somebody who doesn't know what this human being is doing or what this human being's job or function is can now figure out what it is that I'm trying to say. You understand? So when we invoke, right? If someone says, I'm going to invoke Sebek, are we invoking a literal alligator? Are we invoking a crocodile? Or are we invoking the energy that a crocodile brings? Crocodiles protect the water, right? You can't just go playing around at the edge of the water in Africa. You might get caught up, right? So Sebek is an energy of protection, right? Protection of the waters. Is this a god? Is this a god? Or is this an expression, a principle of energy that we're trying to display? Right? So the more we delve into our own study, the more we realize the flaws in the methodologies of the different religions that are trying to do what it is that we're doing. See? But you can't get you can't get it until you get it. You got to actually go and look for Kemet, right? You got to go and look for the knowledge that you're seeking, right? In order for you to understand why how we've been doing it previously is not the way to go. You got to put the work in. It requires some work. If you don't know who Sebek is, if you don't know what Sebek represents, if you don't know what Asar, Aset, Haru, if you don't know what these beings are, you will not be able to understand what they were trying to tell you. That's just what it is. Right? You have to do the legwork. And this is the part that most of us don't want to do. We want it cookie cutter. We want it microwavable. We want it fast, and we want it now. Right? Instant gratification. That's the world that we live in. Some things require not just study, right? But some things also require that study to sit on you for a while, right? It requires for it to marinate so that you can actually apply it someday, right? It's levels to everything, okay? So you got to take your time with it. Learn each attribute, and that's what we're starting to segue into. Before I like to delve into the extracurricular, I should say, activities of what we're doing, we have to have a stable foundation. So a lot of this, for this first week, we're going to be dealing with just foundational principles, right, of things that you have to understand before we move forward and get advanced with. Okay. So for the case of study, right, I gave you guys some homework yesterday. Y'all remember what the homework was? Was to look into the primordial 8, the first, and the NEI, the 9, the first 9 deities, right, that exist in ancient Kemet, the ones that actually give us the expression of Ankh, right? In order to understand Ankh, you have to understand the primordial deities. You can't have Ankh without the primordial deities, right? Before you start talking about how the Ankh represents, the womb, right, and the phallus, right? You can't really go there and go there until you understand how the Ankh before human beings were created. What was the Ankh? What was it? Right? The same principle created human beings because we're one and the same with the universe. But before that, what was the Ankh? Right? At some point, we existed with just water, air, space, and time. Right? So it's levels to everything. So before we get there, we have to take it step by step. So for the sake of, for the purpose of study purposes, here are the different names that, and I also told you that these names were translated into Greek. Here are the different names that were, or the deities that were translated into Greek, and they changed the names. And these are the main ones, I should say, that you should know about from the beginning. Okay. Here you can see Ra as Ra or Re, right? Osiris, which is the Greek name, is Asar. Isis is a Greek name, right? Her real name is Osset. You have Horus, real name Heru, right? So you have the Kemetic name in red, right? And the Greco-Roman in black. Okay. So you may want to screenshot this for your own sake so you understand the difference if you're a beginner of who they're talking about. Now, this is going to lead you down a rabbit hole. Let me put a disclaimer on this really quick. This is going to lead you down a rabbit hole, I promise, when you start to delve into the different names and them being transliterated over. Because now when you start to Google the real names, you're going to start to run into Black spiritual leaders who are putting out content. Okay, I'm just giving you the forewarning now, right? This is you, by studying this basic thing right here, right, is going to lead you down a rabbit hole, because you're going to realize how many things they actually changed and the things that they switched around and took credit for. And they're still taking credit for, Hermes, and, they say the Hermetic principles and, things like that. You start to realize who they're talking about. They're actually talking about ancient Kemetic deities, and they just put a Greek stamp on it, like they did the concept of God, right? They did the concept of God instead of God being the very thing that is the essence of who you are. They put this white man there and said, no, this white man is just inside you. It's not you. It's not you. It's him. It's him. You didn't just do that. Like literally, like you went and you studied, that you put the mind behind what it is that you was doing. You know you grinded hard. You know that you hustled. You know that you went to work. You know that you went and you paid for that. You know that you went and you did whatever you had to do, right? But at the end of the day, when it's done, this guy pops up. You didn't do it. He did it, right? That's the okie doke. That's the okie doke. Because what it does is it takes away what you're actually capable of. It takes away your power and what you had the ability to do. In order for you to do it, you had to do it through that white man, through him right there. That's God. That's God. It couldn't happen any other way, right? When you realize the reason why they said that, right, is because black people can't get the credit for the stuff that they do. They couldn't get the credit for that type of stuff. And we're going to prove a lot of that a little bit later on. We're going to delve into it, right? So to show without a shadow of a doubt that it is because they didn't want black people having, right, this credibility. That's what it is. So, you know, when we deal with this concept, right, prayer versus invocation, the more you start to delve into invocation, eventually it's going to lead you to one place. And that's the aspect of what we call meditation. Meditation. Because in order for you to invoke something, you have to first realize your self-worth. You have to realize what you're capable of, how important you are, and your self-value. Right? Meditation is the act of going within. Right? Meditation is the act of nothingness. So hard to do. Stillness. Very hard to do. Even harder. It's the act of quieting your mind. You ever lay down in bed, try to go to sleep, realize an hour has passed, 2 hours have passed, right? And you're just in your head, thoughts, ideas, emotions, the things that you were dealing with during the day, just running through your mind. The act of quieting the mind is one of the hardest things to do. Why? Do you know why? The very chaos that they talk about in the Bible, right? Of everything being chaotic. That's the mind that they're talking about. When they talk about that darkness, right? Darkness is chaos, right? When they talk about, all of the things that created the universe, right? All of the things that created the universe. It started from the mind. It started with a thought. It started with us. Nothing moves without the mind. Everything that you see that is created here on this planet started from the mind, a thought. This is where we get thoth from. The very word thought comes from Tahuti. The word thought, as you can see, if you look down where it says Tahuti in red, you see it says thought. Thoth is Thoth actually. Thoth. Thoth is the root word. It's where we get the word thought from. It's an ancient Kemetic word that they translated over into Latin. It was first Tahuti. This is where the word thought comes from. Everything that you see here in this room, everything that you see out in the world, right? Everything started with a thought. Somebody sat down and said, hey, I'm going to create a microphone. We're going to design it just like this. This was in somebody's brain first. Somebody else said, hey, we're going to sit down. We're going to, make this arm for this mic. Huh? Somebody created this speaker, this chair. So when you look at it from that concept, God would be the collective of thought. Think about it. The collective of all thoughts is what God is. Not this. Definitely not this. This is not what created the universe. God looks more like this. God looks more like this. And if you look close enough, you just might see it somewhere. Just might see that black hole somewhere. If you're looking for God. The very concept and the very idea, if you look just a little closer, you might see that God. It's not that God is within you. You are it. It was you the whole time. Silly rabbit. In you. In you? No, it is you. It is you. You put oil in the car, right? You put the oil in the car. I'm telling you, the oil is the car. See what I'm saying? It ain't in you, it was you. See what I'm saying? You run your. Listen, why do you think your cell phone, right? Why do you think the cell phone is so crazy right now, investing in the cell phone? Every company, right, as far as promotion, whatever, they're putting millions and millions of market dollars in cell phones. Why? Anybody know? You take a guess? The cell phone has the ability to manipulate thoughts and the mind. It has the ability to cultivate the mind. It has the ability to distract the mind. It has the ability to entertain the mind. It's not about the communication aspect. It's more about controlling the mind. If you can control the mind, you can control what is created, what is born, what gets built, and what gets destroyed. Walk with your boy. Welcome to the lighthouse. If you can control the mind, you can control anything that is created. That's the reason why there's thousands of gods. That's the reason why there's thousands of different lanes and ideologies and theologies and methodologies that human beings can just wander on down and have a ball. I can make this chair a god if I wanted to. I can make this chair right in front of me a god. And if I put enough knowledge behind it, if I put enough reasoning behind it, I can get other people to worship it too. We can get people to drink the Kool-Aid. That's not a problem, right? Why? Because if you can manipulate the mind, you can create whatever you want here on this plane, in this universe. Everything starts in the mind. It starts from there, and then it goes into a spiritual sense, right? Because your spirit and your mind have to link up with it in order for you to manifest it. This is the reason why we meditate. Because we're linking up our spirit with our mind. The things that we have, our thoughts, right? Our intuitions, we're linking up all these things to run in unison. We're putting things in order when we meditate. We're using invocation from within and bringing out the elements from within. This is why we do the opening of the way, which we'll talk about in the next video. We're bringing out the things that are within us to manifest and create our reality. How do you explain that to someone? Well, if you're not really into the practice, you just create a god. You just create a god, because that way you don't have to actually explain it. You don't have to actually break down what's happening, Because if you really delve into the science, you realize like, oh, this is a lie. You realize that it's a lie. So they have to control the mind. That's the basics, right? So what does it look like for you for invocation? And this is what I want to ask, and this is what we're going to delve into. A lot of this is going to be a lot of self-evaluation. Even for those of you who are conscious, have been doing this for a while. When you invoke, and I want you to be honest. Right? Be honest with yourself. When you invoke, what do you envision? When you invoke, what do you envision? Do you see? Let's put it this way. For those of you who actually say, hey, I'm going to invoke a Sar, I'm going to invoke a Set, I'm going to invoke Heru. What is it that you see when you do that? Do you see Kemetic images? Is that what you see? Those of you who are new to this, when you go and you pray, or you pray to God, right? Are these the images that you see in your head? What is the image that you see in your head when it's time to pray to God? Do you see that? Do you see this? Or do you see this? Because out of all of these, only one of these is right. And you'd be surprised as to which one is the right one. What do you envision? Diamond says, I envision conversations with the ancestors. Cool. To be honest, I really don't know. Roll-up says, I see nothing. Do you want to know what the answer is? I'm looking. She says, sometimes I see Kemetic symbols. Iris said, do you see a black hole? Love Tuckle says, the results. Yolanda says, Spencer. Yolanda Spencer says, yes. Okay, so I'm going to tell you. The best answer out of all of these is actually Love Taco's answer. It's the results. It's the results. You got to see where it's going to go, right? You got to envision what it is that you're looking for. Whatever it is, you got to manifest it, right? Right? If you can't see it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Right? I love that answer too. That's the answer. Right? And why is that so hard to see? I'm going to tell you why it's hard to see. Because for some of us, we have this in our mind, right? For others, we have this in our mind. Oh, what do you mean by that, Jamar? Aren't we supposed to? These Kemetic deities are principles that are only supposed to assist you in your journey. You understand? These are principles. These deities, when you put them all together, guess what you get? When you take all the deities and you put them together, guess what you get? You. Why? Because all of these deities, right? When they say God is in you, no. All of these deities are actually what's in you. These are the principles of the universe. Literally. Do you have thoughts within you? Of course. Of course. Do you have Ra within you? Of course. The eyes actually absorb sunlight. The pineal gland actually absorbs sunlight. Think about this. Everything that you see here, all these different beings are within you. Het Heru, Hathor, Love. Do you have love in you? Do you have the element, the concept of love in you? When all is said and done, it's going to come down to you and what you're capable of. Nothing else, nothing more. If you don't do it, it doesn't happen. I don't care. I don't care what you want to happen, right? The only person that is in your way and the only person that is capable of helping you it was you the whole time. You the whole time. So, tough pill to swallow for many of us. Why? Because we have to look at ourselves and say, you know what? Maybe it was my fault. Maybe it was me the whole time. Maybe it was my fault. Huh? Whether it was a past life or not, or until now. Accountability is hard. It's very hard for us to say, you know what? I chose that man. I chose that woman. 7.4 billion in the world. How did I end up in that toxic relationship? That was me. I made that choice. Right? Shardrick said, Snoop said it best when he got an award. I want to thank me for working so hard, and I want to thank me for making this happen. Absolutely. Now, see, society has created this thing about being humble and being meek, right? Which I get. Some people are just crazy. But you know, sometimes you have to toot your own horn. You have to pat yourself on the back because who else is going to do it? Not even sometimes, all the time. That should be a regular practice. It should be a regular practice. Never mind what people have to say about it. Those are usually people that ain't doing nothing anyway. Hold on. Hold on, fam. I'll be right back. Don't ever find yourself falling into the that trap that because here's the thing. When you look outside of self, right? When you look outside of self, I'm gonna answer your question, roll up. When you look outside of yourself and you say, you know, I didn't do this, you know, or I'm not capable of doing this. Only a God is capable of doing this. You're telling yourself that literally your action takes supernatural power in order to get it done. And a lot of times that's not what most cases, 99.9% of the time here on planet Earth, it doesn't take a supernatural experience in order for you to get what you're trying to get, whatever it is, in order for you to do whatever it is trying to do. In most cases, 99.9% of the time, it only takes hard work and dedication. Sometimes it don't even take hard work. It just take regular work. You know, we try to make everything seem like it's hard work, hard work, hard work. No. When they start doing that, when they start feeding that to you, time to walk away. Because let me tell you something about manifestation. Most of the time, it doesn't take hard work. Most of the time, it doesn't feel hard at all. When you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're walking in your calling, that's the most fun thing to ever do. I promise you, when you are walking in where you're supposed to be walking in your purpose, you won't even know that you're working. You won't even know it. You won't even know it. When we look back at what the Lighthouse has done, what my company has done, our organization, what we've done together, everyone will tell you we had a blast. We had a blast. People from the outside looking, they say, oh, look at the work, look at the work, look at the work. Bruh, this is just what we do. It's what we do. See, it's not work. You're having fun. See, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and then you're calling, you never work a day in your life. That's the bamboozlement. They want to make you seem like everything is hard, make it seem like everything, and it's not. It's really not. You have all the tools and all the resources right now to get it done. But because we don't want to be self-accountable, right? We all put ourselves in a position where we think that it's everything is against us. It's hard to do, right? Most of us just don't know how to stay consistent and stay committed to our goal of what it is we're trying to do. Major key. Major key. Major key. Just stay consistent. Stay consistent. Stay on your path, right? All of the distractions and all the different things that people are telling you that you should be, that you should look like, that you should go to, the things that you should represent, right? The clothes that you should wear, the way your family should be run, right? The car that you should drive, right? The house that you should live in, right? How much money that you should have in your account. Allow all these things to mess you up if you want, or you can stay committed to the craft or whatever it is that you're trying to do and get there that much quicker. The area of least resistance is exactly where you're going to be. I promise you that. That's going to be where you need to be. You're not going to have to work hard, right? So we do have some questions in the feed I do want to answer, right? So brother gave me a question. It was a really good question. Roll up music. So if there is no God, then how was we created? Now, I'm gonna ask you something, brother. I'm gonna ask you something. If I asked your mama that question, what you think she gonna say? Respectfully. If I asked your mother how you were created, right? Because I told you, never mind other people, right? If I asked you, brother, how were you created? What would your mother say? To a woman, right? To a woman, right? He said she's going to say God, right? That's the same thing that my mama told me when I asked her how them Christmas presents got under that tree. Feedy early said, ask your daddy. Now, I don't know your mama and your daddy respectfully, but I know for a fact that you weren't created by God. This is the power of indoctrination, right? You could literally, right, fall in love. You could literally mate with your significant other. You could literally go through hell and high water for 9 months straight, right? You could literally be on a hospital bed, some for even days and hours, right? Bearing a child, right? And then at the end of it all, when somebody asked you, how did this baby get here? You're going to say, God did it. Huh? That's the power of indoctrination. That's why we're having this class today. Because you could literally be looking at something right in front of your face and not even realize what it is that you're looking at. Because the mind, the thought is being controlled. When you can control the mind, it does not matter what the reality is, because the perception of what it is that we see, right? Our sight is not necessarily on the outside. Perception is on the inside. Perception is what we take from the environment. We bring it inside of us and then we render it. See? Now, if I go back to the hospital of where you were born, the doctor will say, I know exactly where he came from. I delivered him. I helped to orchestrate him into the universe. I know exactly where he came from. So if you want to praise your creator, how do you do that? If you notice, Jamar Milton doesn't celebrate many holidays. I don't celebrate many holidays, right? One of the few, right, that I make sure that I indulge in all the way is Mother's Day and Father's Day. If it's one thing, right, that I make sure that my universe and the people that are around me, right, understand is that we're celebrating Mother's Day and we're celebrating Father's Day. Why? Right? Those should be everyday occurrences, right? The ones who created you. Never mind the word gods. Who are your netters? Your netters, the principles that are within you, right? I look at my parents like my netters. My parents gave me the DNA that I have, right? They gave me the water that flows through my veins, the blood, right? The elements, the actual things that make me up, right? If you want to meet people where they're at, they only know the concept of God. Those are my gods. Those are my gods. And even in that, I understand, right, that there's a hierarchy, but we all connected. I have a role. At some point in time, their epoch fades out, and now I'm in that space. I'm in that space as the one who needs to orchestrate what's going on, right? It's not about who has the most power or who has authority, right? It's a network. It's a network. And this is my chain. My children will follow suit in the same thing that I'm doing. They will yield that same power and authority someday, right? So if you want to know who created us, right? Human beings came from human beings. When we look at who created God, God self-manifested, right? They say that God always was, right? Yes, we are netters, not gods and goddesses. We are netters. We are Nkar. We are the Nkaru, right? The Shemsu Heru. That's who we are, right? The highest manifestation of what they call God. We are the highest version of that. We created the gods so that they can understand who we are, our elements, what are inside of us. We created that, right? If God was the first one, you will find the word God in the original texts, right? If God always was, who built the pyramids? Who built everything that we see? God did that. Who did that? Right? They say that God is all powerful. He's all powerful. Okay. Is he all powerful? Right? Or is he all loving? Because you can't be both. You can't be all powerful and all loving, because that means somebody else yields the power of being all hateful. You either have all the power or you have some of the power. If God is all powerful, right? That means the devil can't yield the power of hate. If God is all powerful, that means God has the power of hate. God is the hateful one. He created hate. So think about this. You got to make it make sense. You can't have both. It's either one or the other. It's either all, right, or nothing when you're dealing with the concept of God, right? There is no in between. So you were created by your mother and your father. How all human beings were created, the first human being, none of us was there. None of us was there. We only have what our ancestors told us. Whether it's right or wrong, we weren't there to know. And I'm not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong. I'm here to give you the knowledge. I just know, just from what I see right here, and I know that from what you see without indoctrination, you know that human beings come from other human beings. You came out of vagina like everybody else. People can say whatever they want to say, right? About the first ones coming from someplace else, whatever. But I know that every human being came from a human being. Until you show me one who didn't, we can't even play the game. We can't even play the game. I'm glad to answer your question, Rolo. That's one of the questions that I love to answer, actually. You know, because I think that's a valuable question, right? And sometimes a lot of scholars, a lot of leaders like to take the position of know-it-alls, right? Instead of just saying, yo, that's impossible to know. That's literally impossible to know. But from what we found, right, this is what we have. This is how far back we can go. This is what science does, right? Science says this is how far we can go. And that's okay. That's okay to say this is how far we've come. We understand we have work to do, right? We understand we have work to do. But at the end of the day, we can tell where a baby comes from. We know how to create babies. We know how to abort babies, right? We know how to cultivate babies into grown adults. We know where people come from. So when they question where people come from, it's literally taking away from what we know women are capable of. That's like a misogynistic concept when you think about it. Because we know that it had to be birthed from another woman. It had to be birthed from a woman, right? And the seed had to come from a man. Okay? Perfect timing. Curtis Wilbert says, why do people reference God as he? Misogyny. Misogyny. It segues right into what I was trying to explain. This is all about the suppression of women, right? Back then, it wasn't necessarily suppression of black women. It was a suppression of women in general. The idea of where human beings come from and how everything started is just so they don't give credit to what a woman is capable of doing. You do enough of this, mama, and you're gonna realize the power that you have, right? So now no brother can come and talk to you any old kind of way. No man could ever say nothing crazy in any old type of fashion, because you realize who you are. You realize you are the cradle of all civilization. You are the one who gave birth to every being that walks on the earth. This is a scientific fact. Why even play around with it? I don't care what religion told you. I don't care what religion told you. Instead, they flipped it around and they said, women is the one. Right? Talk to him, Shardrick. Women are credited with the downfall of all mankind in the Christian Bible. How? Make it make sense. Without her, civilization would not exist. She cannot be responsible for the downfall. She's responsible for its existence, its actual birth. Nothing else to talk about. Nothing else to talk about. This is why they're going so hard right now to try to help the LGBTQ community and gay men have birth so that they can blur the lines as to who the creator of the world. Just imagine, right? If they actually succeed in this and they have all these different men making babies, right? It's only a matter of time before the numbers begin to sway and they say, well, it becomes regular knowledge that men can have babies and people will think that men started everything. It's only a matter of time. what I'm saying? So this is why, it's important for us, to make sure that we correct the indoctrination. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, family. If y'all like this conversation, make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the heart button, do all that action. Let's get us to the top. We're now streaming on 3 different platforms on Facebook and YouTube. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Super big concept today. The concept today is, who do I pray to, right? But I do like to answer questions, and segue into other things, right? So, when we tackle the conversation of God, and the creation of mankind, the creation of human beings, all these different things are right in front of your face. And this is what the gist of the message is today. Sometimes it's like, not even sometimes, like I said, 99.9% of the time, it's not about prayer. It's about invocation. It's about invocation and going within and recognizing that the gods that they created, that they were trying to explain, right, was you the whole damn time. Whole time. It was not some being outside of you. Okay. And this is what is slowing down your manifestations, to be honest. It's waiting. You play the waiting game. You sit on the couch like the old lady waiting on the good ship Jesus to pull up. Right? So this is what's been holding back the Black community for a long time. We're the most spiritual race on this planet. We're the most spiritual, we're the most religiously attached community, Black people. And we're wondering why, right? Native, we're wondering why we're not moving where we should be, right? Somebody said prayer is a form of begging, in my opinion. And it could be. It can develop into that, Diedrich. Very easily. Where the way that I was raised, it had come to that. We were so impoverished, and we were just begging and praying, praying to God, waiting for him to just pull up, And then what happens is you literally lose the unction to do for self. You lose the mindset that you're the one that's capable of orchestrating this. See what I'm saying? You lose it, right? Thank you to Cora. I see your donation, Dua. Feel free to donate, family. That's the link on the feed down in the bottom. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you haven't hit the like and the heart button, make sure you do so. We got 82 people on the feed. I want to see 82 likes, 82 hearts. Appreciate y'all. I like dealing with some of the comments. Shawty said, I can't call on God when I need help, but I can damn sure call on my parents, and they show up and show out. Listen. No God has ever been able to orchestrate anything on this planet without the help of human beings. Who is Jesus without the Black woman giving birth to a Jesus? Even the spiritual concept lets you know that they couldn't even fake a nigga. You can't even fake a dude without utilizing the Black woman, because somebody got to give birth to it, right? It got to go through the woman. Why are we even playing games with this? Even in the spiritual story, right? Mary had to give birth. What kind of God can create a human being from scratch, but when it's time to create the superhuman being of the universe, they got to go find a Black woman to give birth to it? Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. The savior of the world, in order for God to create it, had to find the Black woman. Make it make sense. He created Adam from scratch, did he not? That's how the story goes. Adam was created from scratch. So why did he need a woman to create Jesus? We got to ask the right questions. Somebody said, get him on the phone. Make it make sense. And we know that white people can't make Black people. That's true, Hubbard. We know that. Right? Make it make sense. Issa said, some parents act like they're God to their children, especially adult children, because they are. They are. They are your gods, your ancestors, right? Your elders, right? If we have to use the word God, that's who they are. It's those beings right there. It's those beings that assist you in your journey in the land of the living, your village. And you can interchange that as you see fit. You can interchange that as you see fit, right? For some people to say, oh, well, my mother wasn't the best, my father wasn't the best. You could interchange them as you see fit. It does not have to be your flesh and blood. This is about energy. This is about vibration. This is about frequency. Many of you are on here. You're not my family as far as relative, but you are my family, right? We vibrate. You are my village. We have the same thoughts, right? We vibrate on the same frequency, right? And that's what most people in the conscious community quickly find out. Like, oh my God, like I didn't have to stick with the same family that I was born with. I could literally go out and find people that are like-minded, and there are lots of them just like me. I could create my own tribe. This is what families are all about. When you go out and you get and you find a significant other, you create a family. That's what it's all about. See? So this message, it's an empowering message for new people and for people that have been in the walk. It helps them to understand and to get them a better, I should say, like get their bootstraps, on tight, right? Because sometimes we forget, right? Even myself, I'm not exempt from the things that you guys go through on a day-to-day basis, and I hope that I do a good job of showing that, right? I try not to dress it up too much for you guys to show that, listen, we're all in the same, space, to show that I'm human just like you, and I'm going through the same journey at the same time. Like it doesn't end, it doesn't ever end. This is something that until I'm no longer here, I'll have to go through. I never want to give you a false sense of spirituality, a false sense of your actual reality, right? To me, that's the most damage that I can do to anybody, right? And I see it happen every day in religion. They give you a false sense and false expectation. See, and I never wanted to be that guy, right? I understand that people gravitate towards the flashy stuff and the things that are dressed up with the silver lining, but I never wanted to be that guy because I always knew that that was for camera. I always knew that that was for just for presentation purposes, and it's not actual reality, right? So we always have to keep that in mind as we move forward, that we're all on this journey together, right? I'm not a god. I'm not a god. All right. Right. Even though we use the terminology and stuff like that, right? We're meeting people where they're at, right? And sometimes we're helping them to excel and move up even further, right? In order for them to understand what it is that you're talking about. You can't go to another country speaking a different language and expect the result, right? Talking about, step up to my level. I speak English. Yeah, all right, good luck with that. Good luck with that. We gotta speak the language of the people. You see what I'm saying? We got to speak the language of the people. So, we want to tackle some of these words. And yes, my Cash App does have a little girl as my avatar. That's my daughter. Okay, my daughter Janaya. Shout out to my daughter Janaya. For those of you who are trying to donate and you're probably a little confused, like, who's it? That's my daughter. That's my firstborn, Janaya. Andy Anderson says, been saying the same thing about the expectations of spirituality. Oh, you become conscious and it's all love and light. So crazy. The journey has just begun. Absolutely. Major key, Andy. Let's say this. Spirituality is going to reveal a lot of things within you that you didn't know existed. Because it opens you up to all the chaos and you have to own up to the accountability. But what you'll also realize is that you have all of the tools. That's the part, right? So So you can't get overwhelmed by the work that you have to do, right? Your job right now, as someone who considers themselves to be awakened, right, or enlightened, is to look at all the tools that you have within you, right? And begin to realize their function, utilize them. The elements that are within your body, you have to now go into study. You know how when you buy something new, it comes with like a manual, right? Or a rule book, right? That manual is already instilled in you, right? You were born with that manual and you understood that manual when you were born. That's the reason why you looked for your mother's breast immediately when you were born. You already knew that survival was the first thing that you need to take as important. You already knew that you had to eat. You had to, be attached to God. You had to be attached to your mother. Nobody had to tell you that, right? But then here we are, right? 30 years down the line, 20 years down the line, 40 years down the line, 50 years down the line, and we're like, where did I come from? Where? How did I get here? Huh? How? Think about it. The baby knew, though. The baby knew who mama was. Off the rip. You try to get a baby to somebody else, baby don't even want to be with anybody else but mama. Baby was born here, programmed, knowing who mama was, knowing who the creator was, knowing who God was. You would think a baby, as innocent as it is and as vulnerable as it is, right? It needs, as a basic core element, it needs to know who God is. It needs to know who the divine is. It needs to know who the Inqar is. How does a baby know? But us as adults don't know. The only way we don't know is indoctrination. It's not that we don't know. We're being told that that's not the right answer. We're being told that mama is not it. That's what we're being told. We're being told we can disrespect the woman. We can disrespect women. We can defile the woman. The woman is not it. That's what we're being taught. But babies know better. Babies know better. Think about it. Look to nature. That's right, Satara. Look to nature for the answers. It's right there. The baby's natural instinct is to go straight to God. Think about the fear factor that a baby has, right? Think about when you're scared to death, right? You ever been scared to death? Some of y'all who in any religions, when you're scared to death, you start praying to Jesus. Oh my God, Jesus, please, please, please. I swear to God, I won't do it again. I swear to God. I know you all had that prayer. I swear to God. Or the drunk prayer. I swear to God, I won't drink no more. I swear to God, I won't drink no more. Just get me out of this. Everybody's had that. That's what a baby experiences when it first comes into life. It's like, oh my, you ever see a baby face when it first come out, especially ones that open their eyes at me, they're looking around, like, what? It's like they're going through a traumatic experience, right? But you get that baby to his mama. Fresh out the womb. What's the first place the baby goes fresh out the womb? It goes right to the mama, right to God. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man. For the majority of you on here, your creator is the black woman. Every time you see a black woman, you should feel reverence in your heart. Every time. Every time. There's no need to even play around with it. So, with that being said, family, announcements. North Carolina, October 14th. October 15th, rather, to the 17th. I'll be in North Carolina. North Carolina, stand up. Charlotte. I'll be there. Announcements. We have Lighthouse Power bracelets in stock. Hold on, family. Hold on, family. I got a secret. Hold on. We got the re-up. We got the re-up straight from Egypt. We got the re-up, family. So the coin purses sold out the first day. Well, the first 48 hours. The coin purses sold out. So I contacted the manufacturer and I had him ship me some more. So these are going to be in our Lighthouse store eventually. People love them. You know, you can put whatever you want in them. You can put your phone in them. You can put, you know, your change in them, whatever you want to put, money. But we have all different designs. They're going for $20 each. This is helping support the movement. If you want to purchase them, hit me in my inbox. You can cash at me, and that's including the shipping costs that were included in that amount. So it's $20 flat, and you're going to be able to get any one of these that you want to help support the movement. Some of them we have Nefertiti, we have Mayat. I mean, these are just awesome. I bought like 30 of them when I went out to Egypt and gave them away to like family members and friends and stuff like that. But people love them. Bast. This is one of my favorites. This is the one that has the musicians on there, showing them how they played their music in ancient Kemet. Okay, Ramses, of course, right? Some of you who are descendants of Ramses, and we have the one with the meta netta on it. This one is a really good one. It's a good learning tool, because if you're trying to learn the meta netta, you need to see it all the time. So this one, for me, is a really cool one, because it has all of the letters on there and their pronunciations on how to pronounce the glyphs, as you can see here. So now you can start to pronounce the meta netta and read the meta netta, you know, and things of that nature. And you have it on hand at all times. And committing it to memory is just the best way to do it. You want to make sure that you have, you know, it's just something like this laying around, or, you know, stuff like that. Peace, Wolverine. I appreciate you. Electromagnetic video. I ain't dropped no electromagnetic video. What you talking about? What video you talking about? He said the electromagnetic video is dope. I need to know what video you're talking about. I never dropped the video for that. But the song is out though. Shout out to everybody that buys the music. Yeah, you know, y'all know I do music, right? So make sure y'all go on iTunes, Apple Music, you know, cop the music, all that. Lighthouse, all my travel buddies. We're about to start traveling again. We're about to start doing some more Lighthouse power trips, and also start scheduling for the family reunion once again. So for those of you who are active in that space, make sure y'all hit me up. Shout out to the admins, everybody that's in the feed over the course of this time, all the ones that I speak to on the side, you know, everybody that's in tune with the movement. What else we got going on? I need to start writing down the announcements, because it be several of them, and I always forget. Like, oh, I forgot to mention that to the family. But yeah, and I also got new music coming out. All right, so I'm probably gonna drop a hip hop record and even an R&B record too. So I got 2 joints that's probably gonna come out fairly soon, and a new projects. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing albums per se. Actually, I'm lying. I know I'm gonna do an album, but you know, I got some new music coming. Just know that. All right. I've been trying to walk away. As much as I try to delve into other practices, y'all keep pulling me back into the music. I don't know, man. Shout out Love Taco. She said, when we gonna learn? When you ever gonna get it? Suns don't burn. We electromagnetic. That's right. That's right. We are children of the sun. So we must always embrace that aspect of ours. You know, look within. You know, that's going to be the overall consensus of my teachings. It's making sure that I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're about. At the end of the day, as long as you're looking within as your source of sustenance and vitality, you will find what it is that you're looking for, and it's going to take you to where you need to go. And sometimes it just means you have to cut off the noise, because you have enough noise inside that dealing with everything else on the outside is just too much for human consumption. At some point in time, you just got to let go and cut off of all of the ambiance, right? And sit and settle on you, because you know what it is you need. You know what it is that's going to propel you to the next level. Somebody said should write a book. For real. That's coming too as well. Thank you for the reminder. That was the other reminder. That's what it means. That's what I mean about frequency and about synchronization right there. That's the other reminder. I'm just about done with my book, and what I'm going to do, family, because we're going to start delving into the nature of human beings and things we have to deal with, right? Anger, pain, right? Hunger, resentment, sadness, depression. We're going to start delving into some of those things. And what I want to do is, and what my book is about, it's about helping you to transpose those energies. Because many of you who have watched my journey, you've seen some of the things that I've gone through, and you're probably saying, how the hell is he even, you know what I mean? How he even juggle that? Like, you know what I mean? I juggle a lot. I wear a lot of hats, you know what I'm saying? And many people wonder, going through certain things, how do you transpose different energies into a positive spin, right? Because everybody has to go through, we all have challenges. How do you take those challenges and transpose them? We're going to talk about that. And that's what's in the book. Okay. It's a very short read, very easy read, because it's very simple concepts. I find that when you over explain things, that's when they become complicated. Sometimes we have to infuse that little element of us into the theme in order for us to be able to get it, in order for it to make sense and stick to us and metastasize. So it's going to be a very, very easy read. It's going to be an ebook. It's going to be available for everyone. It's going to be almost like a course, right? That you'll be able to take with me, and I'll be going through it with you, chapter by chapter, piece by piece. So I'm super excited for when that drops, and I hopefully you guys will come on board and we'll go on that journey together. So with that being said, am I an hour in? I think I'm an hour in. Pretty sure. So with that being said, listen, I had a great time with you guys this morning. Dua for all of the energy, the questions. I love it, the participation. And eventually what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the link in there for those of you who want to actually come on the feed and ask your questions live in person so we can talk about it. I think that would be beneficial to everyone. So with that being said, I love y'all. I'm gonna let it rock out like I normally do. If y'all want to chop it up with each other, you know what I'm saying? Link up with each other. Let people know where you're from. Link up with people who are like-minded and in your area and not too far away from yourself, so that when we meet up, right, we can get together and we have something to talk about. With that being said, I love y'all. May the divine force in me reach the divine force in you, and you manifest every heart's desire. Ashe. All that, get all that energy. Peace. I love y'all. One.
Fresh off the LAX, blowing on the Pacalolo. Draped in the flyest logos, pockets swole, bro. Attract the finest of divine feminine cocoa. Try to keep a humble approach, better than most though. Too cold for hell, and I know heaven a no-go. Reminiscing of demons like a devil in Rojo. But still I rise like the primordial Ocho, you know. And it's like that way. Since the beginning of time, I was a winner who shine on a ridiculous grind, keeping my business in line. All of this shit is divine, homie. I hope you could stand the rain, no Mr. Mean. Hit the homie T-Red for exquisite green, riding down Fairfax, Bentley, no limousine. Thoughts about make it in the dying, I was in between. My higher self intervened like a pick and screen, in and out burger tween, dopest shit you ever seen. I survived the drought, the coldest of the evergreens. Played a couple clubs, now they know me in the mezzanine. Let it breathe, no energy for enemies, especially now we on the bigger and better things. You know the name ring bells, let it ring, nigga. Let it ring, let it ring. You know the name ring bells, let it ring, nigga. Let it ring, let it ring.
Another one of those days, but the 7th for this week. Been on the grind, sun up and down, this here not for the weak. My stock on rise, today's prices, not yesterday's feet. This world of drama, dodging karma from my days as a G. Planting knowledge, empowerment in the streets for my peeps. Could never fly, you scared to jump, nigga, so I took that leap. Consciously knowing I fall, to land back on my feet. Dust off my shoes, kiss my bruises, then it's back to the peak top. Been the beasts, playing snatches, running from beat cops. Scully tops to wearing scullies running down on my ops. My innocence was robbed from me, whether I liked it or not. Everything I did as a kid, it was never for props. I fell in love with the feeling from the feeling I got. Adrenaline pumping, blood rushing from the bulge of the Glock. That's fully stocked with hollow tips that make a